Hey out there, it's time for another Sonic Boom vlog. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this episode because they've been telling me about it's coming in the comments. Now I am vaguely aware of future plot points, but I don't really actively seek out the episodes ahead of schedule, so you don't really have to let me know. Anyway, this episode starts in Dr. Eggman's lair, as he's lovingly dusting all of his inventions. I kind of miss Eggman. We haven't seen him for like 2 weeks. So, his particle accelerator's gone missing, and he freaks out. So, with Sonic eating a chili dog on his couch, he calls the cop over and tells him about the missing item. Meanwhile, Cubot and Orbot are leading a tour group on through the lair. Because apparently that's a thing. Like seriously, apparently, petty theft is something that can get you arrested, but, constant terrorist attacks on the local populace is something that makes people want to tour your lair like a tourist attraction. I do not get the logic of the legal system of this world. Then again, it's just supposed to be an absurdist comedy, so whatever. So Sonic's sitting on the couch wondering why he has to be here, because this is just an investigation, not actually something that the hero gets involved in, when Eggman points the finger of accusation at him, because there's pieces of chili dog crumbs all around where the particle accelerator used to be, and footprints all over the lab that match Sonic's shoe tread. Now, this is a really annoying part of the episode where the tour group is actually watching the investigation. They gasp dramatically at every point. And Sonic's like, will you stop gasping dramatically? And they still gasp dramatically. And I really have Sonic's opinion. That's an annoying joke. So Sonic figures that when the cop tries to place him under arrest, he says that he's going to find the guy responsible and clear his name, and he runs off. So the next scene is in the village where there's actually a man. They're actually organizing a manhunt for Sonic. And it turns out that a lot of people have witnessed Sonic stealing their stuff. So Knuckles, doing the whole scratching the chalkboard thing like the fisherman from Jaws, says that he'll catch Sonic. But they wanted to organize a posse, but he says he has to do this alone. And then he pulls a George Bush, by which I mean he tries to go out through a door which he can't open. The mayor says that you have to jiggle the knob while pulling it, and he says, I am doing that. That's good. It's going out the window. So he jumps out the window, and that's when the door swings open the other way. It was a push door. I'd say Knuckles is an idiot for trying to pull open a push door, but the mayor actually tried to tell him to pull the door, so the mayor's stupid here too. And again, he's an elected official, so politicians. I don't know, I guess it's not as bad when everyone's as stupid as Knuckles, because then Knuckles seems less stupid by comparison. So, out in the middle of the woods, Knuckles is trying to track Sonic, and he finds a stick that he licks, and somehow is able to confirm that Sonic has been this way. And Knuckles, being a treasure hunter in the video game series, would be a pretty good tracker here in this cartoon, even if his IQ has been reduced to almost nothing. That's when the posse manages to catch up to him, saying that they just followed the spit-covered sticks, and he says that he doesn't need their help when he realizes he's chest deep in quicksand. He tries to claim that this is a shortcut. Oh, by the way, the title of this episode was It Wasn't Me, It Was a One-Armed Man. That's a reference to The Fugitive, another story of a guy falsely accused of a crime. So Sonic is undercover, working in a warehouse, bringing in boxes, when this tall, skinny guy, I believe his name is Earl, sits down to have a break with him, and says that there's really nothing to do here but play horseshoes. And that's when a horseshoe comes and hits him in the head. Sorry, Earl. So Earl actually says that a guy that looked like Sonic had just run into the East Forest. So Sonic's about to go pursue. Oh, by the way, Sonic is wearing a headband and a pair of glasses, which actually makes him look like one of those Fang characters I made before. Um, and just when Sonic is about to go pursue the guy that looks like him, boom, Earl gets hit by another horseshoe and gets knocked unconscious. So so he's with the doctor, and he says that he has to do something to help him, and the doctor says, "Oh sure, I can just boil up some horseshoe antidote." You don't have to be sarcastic. No, really, I have a recipe for horseshoe antidote. But I need a purple orchid that grows in the West Forest. And it's like, oh, is that near the East Forest? So Sonic momentarily has a crisis of faith of whether he should go to the West Forest to get the orchid that he needs to save Earl, or should he go to the East Forest to pursue the guy who framed him? You know, Sonic is a hero and he puts others before himself. So he goes to the West Forest to find the orchid. And that's when Knuckles notices we can go back that way, like, hey, I bet that guy knows where Sonic is. So he pursues him, and Sonic goes into the forest and like, oh hey, the purple orchid. I thought that there would be more of an obstacle. But boom, a wicker basket goes over his head. Knuckles, is that you? So it turns out that Knuckles wasn't actually trying to capture Sonic. He was actually trying to get to Sonic first so that the posse wouldn't have their way with him. Because he's an important part of Team Knuckles. Sonic's not even going to argue because he just wants to get this orchid back. So he gets the orchid back to the doctor, who makes the antidote for Earl, and then they go back to the East Forest to see if they can catch up to whoever it is who's been framing Sonic. That's when they find an old shed with a silhouette that looks like Sonic's head inside, and it's Metal Sonic! Yes! The long-awaited cameo appearance of Metal Sonic in the cartoon. This is something that that people have been talking about for a couple weeks now, and it's kind of been hyped. Because, you know, Metal Sonic's sort of awesome. And, seriously, this Metal Sonic looks exactly like the Metal Sonic from the video game, which looks exactly like the proper universe Metal Sonic, because apparently they decided that they really do not need to change Metal Sonic's design for the Boom universe, because Metal Sonic is just so darn iconic. Although I can't say that Metal Sonic's the only one that survived this, because Cubot and Orbot also didn't get redesigned, so... But still, it's Metal Sonic. And he starts shooting plasma bolts and lasers, and he knocks Knuckles unconscious. So Sonic has to fight him alone, and he shoots lasers and makes houses collapse, and Sonic... This is actually a really good action sequence. I mean, I can't really comment on it or snark on it because it's just like there's use of slow motion. There's there's real confrontation. It's actually a pretty good action sequence for this show. It's good for this show may be a comedy, but it's still Sonic, meaning you still have to pull off action. Just when it seems that Sonic's getting the upper hand in the fight, Metal Sonic takes out Dr. Eggman's particle accelerator and uses it to augment his abilities. So he starts glowing with a purple flame aura, and this pursuit goes all the way back to Sonic's house on the beach, where Sonic starts to pant and says, "When you're tired, you just recharge." But I never get tired. Turns out that the heavy breathing was just a bluff, where he leaps at him. And he hits the particle accelerator, causing it to backfire and overload his systems. When it explodes, he gets sent flying off into the horizon behind some bushes. So what happens after that is oh boy, hold on, I need a moment to catch my breath. I never get tired. Okay, so we cut back to the scene where the cops are back in the village with the posse, and Sonic, he brings all of the stolen goods along with Eggman's particle accelerator, which he hands back, saying that he recovered all the stolen goods, proving that he didn't steal them. And Eggman correctly says that all that he proved was that he had the stolen goods. So it actually is. This is actually more evidence that he actually did steal them. So the cop is about to arrest Sonic again when Earl comes in. By the way, Earl had Bart Simpson hair. It's kind of funny. He had just purple Bart Simpson hair. Sure, why not? Earl brings in like all these parts lined by the shed. I thought you might need them. And he drops the Metal Sonic robot. And he says, "Ha! See, that's the Metal Sonic robot that had been used to frame me." And Eggman says, "Oh, that's ridiculous. Now, if you don't mind, I'll just take my particle accelerator and my robot Sonic suitable for framing and go home." And then another horseshoe gets lobbed at Earl's head, and he falls over again, and Sonic and Knuckles just start laughing. And then there's one more scene showing the posse in the middle of the woods, saying that they should continue to pursue Sonic until they hear a wolf howl, where they decide that they should just go home. And that's where the episode ends. Okay, so Dr. Eggman makes his return after 2 weeks of not appearing, and we get Metal Sonic for the first time in the show. This episode is actually good. I mean, I'm still infuriated by the stupidity of the average townsperson and the apparent uselessness of the police force and the absurdity of their legal system. But all these things are just kind of inherent in a comedy show. So I guess I can't really hold that against them, even if I find it kind of annoying. The scenes with Metal Sonic were really good. I mean, once Metal Sonic appears, the show just becomes action. So like they don't make Metal Sonic a comic foible. And the basic plot is actually similar to an episode from the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon. You know, the one with Pseudo Sonic, wherein Robotnik makes a robotic duplicate of Sonic in order to sully his good reputation by having to commit crimes. In this case, he had Metal Sonic commit a bunch of petty theft to sully Sonic's reputation. Of course, Metal Sonic doesn't look exactly like Sonic. He just looks enough like Sonic that when he's moving at high speed, people wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I have such a stuffy nose, I cannot talk properly. So this episode pretty much hits all the beats properly. We get this new cameo character, showing that Sonic can make friends with other people. Why not? He's no Percy, but oh god, my stuffy nose is making me yawn. He's no Percy, but you know he has Bart Simpson hair, so that makes his character design kind of interesting. Although that guy throwing horseshoes by the warehouse is he's a complete asshole. Who just flings horseshoes around a work site? Especially that he keeps doing it after he knocks his coworker unconscious. What a jerk. Off-screen horseshoe thrower guy. He's the villain of this episode. Alright, so I guess that's it. There's nothing really much to say about this. So yeah, this was another good episode. Love Metal Sonic. Love that he made it into the proper series. So I'll see you guys next week.